I think the problem with America, let alone the world, is relatively deep. But to break it down simply, it all starts with the problem of people breaking up the nuclear family and having single moms taking care of kids by themselves. And I'm not saying there's anything wrong with the mother and father being broken up, as long as the father sees the child and he's a relatively good father. But if the mother doesn't have a father figure for that child, that's the problem. They need a stepdad. They need somebody. The mother can't be both the mother and the father. It does not work that way. The balance just simply isn't there. It needs to be two people, so one person could be the sentimental listening type, while the other one teaches you to be tough and control your emotions. But the point is, if the mother isn't there with some sort of father figure to be there, that could be a real freaking issue. When people grow up without a father, they are lost, confused. They don't learn to cherish simple things like individual freedom. They tend to lean more towards security than freedom, which, as you know, is a terrible thing. But that's not all. They account for 63% of youth suicides. That's a huge deal. Then for runaways, they account for 90% of all homeless and runaway youths. They account for 85% of all children that exhibit behavioral disorders. They account for 71% of all high school dropouts. They account for 70% of juveniles in state-operated institutions. They even account for 75% of adolescent patients in substance abuse centers. And finally, 75% of rapists motivated by displaced anger. If you want your child to succeed, make sure he has a good father figure in his life. Not just for you, not just for him, but for society. I truly believe that this creates a lot of the bad actors that we have in society today. When you have no morals being taught to you, like what's right and what's wrong, one of the things that you don't learn is that might doesn't make right. These type of people, these people that grow up without fathers, tend to believe that might does make right, and that action should be judged solely by its consequences only. So if the greater good is served by a little violence, then do that violence. That's what they believe. This may sound okay on paper, but this is consequentialism. You know who was a consequentialist? Thanos. He believed when he snapped his fingers and eradicated half of humanity that he served the greater good, because now there's enough resources to go around for the rest of humanity. And obviously Thanos was the bad guy in that movie, right? I mean, for good reason. Consequentialists are bad people. These type of people tend to be collectivists in nature and believe, for example, that we can steal from the rich using violence because it helps the greater good. That's a consequentialist argument. Or in more extreme examples, kill the rich if the greater good is served. But the people with fathers who are taught morals will say, no, those rich people's lives matter. Their individual rights matter. Might doesn't make right just because it serves the greater good. People with fathers are taught better ethics. For example, deontological ethics. These are the type of good ethics that are taught to people with parents. The ones without parents around to teach them the good morals and good ethics, they end up being consequentialists a lot of the time. And if you're not convinced that fatherlessness leads to consequentialism, look at this. Okay, there is 23.6% of Americans are consequentialists. Okay? And 23.6% of children in the U.S. are fatherless. I shit you not. That is not a joke. Look at the stats yourself. I know correlation doesn't equal causation, but this is eerie. I may be onto something here. But let's get back to the crux of the issue. More and more mothers are raising their children being single because they're strong and independent women. But they are undermining how important fathers are. And most importantly, how important those morals that those fathers teach to children are. Believe it or not, fathers are extremely important. Christians know this. They know how important the nuclear family is. This is why I love Christianity, because it promotes the nuclear family and it gets rid of a lot of society's problems. I think they're wrong about the God situation. I'm atheist. But I love the fact that they promote the nuclear family. They get people enshrined with basic principles of morality because there's fathers teaching their children the basic principles of morality. They are less likely to do drugs, less likely to commit crime, less likely to get involved with an extreme ideology, like radical leftism, for example, and less likely to become the cancer of the earth. Dads matter. That is the crux and most important message of this video. So what does this mean? If you're a mother, for the love of God, cherish your husband and do what you can to salvage that relationship. And if you know of a stepdad that is actively helping, taking care of a kid that doesn't have their real father readily available in a healthy way, then cherish that stepdad. I believe being a stepdad is probably pretty hard, and they don't get enough credit. It's no secret that people that have stepdads usually grow up to be misguided, but they're not nearly as misguided as people who grow up with no dad. So cherish stepdads, especially cherish those who adopt. Adopt yourself if you can. People who need adoption are not only lacking a father figure, but a mother figure as well, and doubly need help. Point is, parents are important. I can't stress enough how important a father figure is to a child's mind and psyche. It is essential. Dads matter. Retweet this, share this, subscribe and like this video to help the algorithm, and also consider hitting the bell button for notifications for my next video if you liked it. Thank you guys for watching. I'll catch you on the next one. Later.